All right, guys. So I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on Survivor Series War Games 2025 as it unfolded. Now, I'm not going to run through the entire match because there's a lot I don't remember, even though it's been a few hours. But I would entreat you to go and watch the show if you can. So here we go. Now, this year's War Games matches, we're not going to have the shark cages, which I thought was pretty cool. So you don't have, all of them crammed in one space as would have been the tradition. Instead, they turned it into a bit of a Royal Rumble style thing where they would get to make their full entrances, which I think is a pretty cool thing because in war games, everybody's entrance kind of gets lost and they have to use like short versions of it, which I think cheats us as fans. Like we should be able to have the whole experience, and you will see why in a bit. But the women's war games match started the night of Charlotte Flair had some really cool gear dedicated to a young cancer patient. Best wishes to said patient. This match was pretty cool. I liked when Becky Lynch stepped in. I think she was the MVP of this match without question. AJ Lee coming in, being blocked by her, and then having to climb the cage, something CM Punk would do later because he loves his wife. I would never be in a competition with that guy if it ever came to that. Lash Legend also looked like $1 million in this match. She was very dominant. Now, she had the ring on, and Trick Williams on Twitter was like, "Oh, I know she ain't got that ring on," which was pretty funny. Of course, they got engaged over Thanksgiving. Congratulations to the two. Trick Williams is winning a life, bro. So the match ended with the heels being laid out and AJ Lee locking in the Black Widow submission on Becky Lynch, tapping her out. And this was a fun match. It was definitely better than last year's War Games match, which was slow at times and, it wasn't as good. I should mention, honorable mention to Io Sky and her trash can spot. That was insane. But that's also a given with Io Sky and War Games matches. Io, I believe, has been in every single War Games match. So that was pretty cool. And then we had Dominic Mysterio, the hometown favorite, going up against the never seen 17 Intercontinental Champion John Cena, who would be at his final Survivor Series pay per view. And by, oh, it's not even a pay per view, it's a PLE. I get these things mixed up sometimes. And by extension, his final WWE PLE. Now, I'm going to say this silently. I also hate the fact that this may have been the last John Cena match I get to watch live because I may be working on December 13th. I pray I don't have to, but if I do, then this was a pretty cool match to watch as the last one. But I will say this match had everything you needed to legitimize a Dominic Mysterio win, especially since he is a heel and you also keep John Cena strong in the way that they did it. Because first he comes out with Raquel Rodriguez. Is it Rodriguez or Gonzalez? It's Gonzalez, isn't it? I get her name mixed up too. Anyway, he comes out with Raquel and Roxanne Perez, and they try to cheat on his behalf. They get thrown out. Then Dominic does the same thing that Penta did on Monday Night Raw and injured his shoulder. And I was kind of panicking. I was like, well, that's raps. Like, you didn't want this to happen. But Dominic, being the clever heel that he is, relied on Raquel to deliver the Chingona bomb to John Cena, and then Roxanne Perez ended up giving a pop rocks to John Cena. I thought that was cool because you put over the women's division by doing so. Because of course he cannot face the women. That would be we don't live in the 2000s. So this allowed Dom to hit a 619 and almost win the match. It didn't work out. JD McDonough, Finn Balor come and try to help. It doesn't work for them either. And then at one point in the match, when the ref gets knocked out, a returning Liv Morgan comes to the aid, seemingly of John Cena at first, because it looks like she smacks Dominic Mysterio, only to turn to John Cena and do a reverse heel turn, what John Cena did to Cody Rhodes at Elimination Chamber, kind of the same thing. Those eyes looked very menacing from Liv. Ended up with her kicking him in the wee wee, as she would say on the post show, which I thought was very funny, leading to Dom hitting the 619 and the frog splash and getting the 123 to become a two-time Intercontinental Champion. Dominic Mysterio, well deserved win. Obviously, I think this has also made it very apparent that John Cena is going to be facing Gunther in his final match, because I did not see how John Cena was going to defend the Intercontinental Championship against Gunther, who has been two-time World Heavyweight Champion at this point. The Intercontinental Championship, I would say, is probably beneath him. And then the Women's World Championship match between defending champion Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella. Well, Stephanie Vaquer, first of all, face card is lethal. Very, very clear skin. Like, Lord have mercy. This match, yeah, it was what you would expect it to be. It was in middle of the road because both women gave it what they could, and I will always respect that no matter what. However, they didn't have too much time to build the feud, and I don't think they built Nikki Bella as a viable threat in as much as she is a very well established performer in WWE and has been for almost 2 decades. Yeah, there was no way anybody was believing that she was going to beat Stephanie Vaquer, who is getting into this title reign and will most likely hold this title up until WrestleMania. The highlights of the match were Nikki Bella trying to hit the thing. I don't remember what it's called on Stephanie Vaquer, but Steph reversed. They tried to let them go onto the apron, and then they go to the announce table and do it, come back into the ring and do it, and then she hits the corkscrew moonsault to finish the match. Stephanie Vaquer's reign, I think, is approaching 70 days or somewhere in that threshold. We'll see what's next for the champion. I do hope that the storylines get better. I wonder what's next for Nikki Bella as well. We will see. And then we had the men's War Games match, or the proverbial all-star game in WWE at this juncture. This probably was the first War Games match I've seen where the team that had the advantage won, because every time they've done War Games on the main roster, I believe, if this is not the first time, then it's maybe the second or third, but no team that has had an advantage going into a War Games match has won. And this was the very first time, because it was Braun Breaker's team: Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre, and Logan Paul, going up against CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, the Usos, and Roman Reigns, who came out last and had a very auratic entrance. My God, I hope to God I have that man's level of aura one day, because it is ungodly. My tribal chief. But this War Games match had a rather very interesting approach. It was what you thought it would be. I don't think they could have done any better than they did. There was that awful landing that Braun Breaker took, and I don't know how he was able to finish the match, but kudos to him. I hope he's fine. I hope he has no hairline fractures of any kind, because that would be incredibly scary. But he pulled through, and I'm happy he did. But that being said, Brock Lesnar coming into the match definitely changed everything. He laid everybody out. The tribal chief makes his entrance, and then Brock Lesnar actually gets out of the cage. But because War Games had not started, the match wasn't forfeited. So that's the good. It's something I have rarely ever seen where they exploit a loophole such as this. So leading to he and Roman brawling on the outside, and then he laying out Roman. I don't know if Roman Reigns is injured, because he also had an elbow pad on his right arm. It was a shorter version of the Winter Soldier sleeve he had on when he came back 2 weeks ago. So that, I think, if that was a factor to why the match was so short and why he wasn't as involved, because really he was giving Superman punches, favoring the arm slightly. Obviously, the big talking point of this match is who was the mystery man. Now, I don't know. People have said it's Austin Theory, and I think they're basing that off of the fact that people believed Austin Theory was going to be in this year's War Games before Brock Lesnar entered the equation. I see some reports have allegedly confirmed the identity of this person, but I am not going to look at any of those reports, because I want to enjoy it as a fan, and I believe many people should do so as well. But this person is obviously a little shorter than Seth Rollins, but can mimic his moveset quite well. So who knows if Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed and Paul Heyman might have recruited somebody else? Or what if on the sidelines in injury, Seth Rollins is recruiting people to taunt the Vision? That could be an interesting part of the whole pot the whole equation. The heels got the win. There was an interesting moment with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. The zebra thing, that was pretty funny, the fan that shouted. And then the seeming tease at a Cody versus Roman 3. Personally, I don't think that's the direction they're going to go. I think it's going to be so funny when CM Punk is the one that gets chosen to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I think that's the trajectory. I don't see them doing Cody Roman 3, at least not for now. But comment down below, let me know what you think. If you enjoyed it, my name is John Andrew. Please do check out all the other videos I have made, and I'll see you in another one. Till then, take care. Peace.